Please welcome the Roosevelt High School Color Guard. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Welcome. Thank you all for deciding not to go to the World Series game or watch it on TV and spend your night here as we gather for a community conversation on County Executive Alsobrooks' proud priorities, proud results. Please give the orchestra band a round of applause. County Executive Alsobrooks will be walking out in a second, but first I want to take this time to acknowledge our elected officials. We've got Delegate Derek Davis, Delegate Alonzo Washington. We've got the chair of our county council, Mr. Todd Turner, and this is his district. Councilwoman Danielle Galeros, Mayor Pro Tem Jay Davis of Greenbelt, I think we saw her. State Attorney Aisha Braveboy, Mayor of Greenbelt Emmett Jordan, and I see we have representatives from Senator Van Hollen's office and Comptroller Francho's office. And if we missed you, please stand and please give them a round of applause. All right, so the county executive is always committed to bringing her government to you, so I'm going to take this second to introduce who is here and who is in her cabinet. On the stage behind me, we will start with Dr. George Askew, DCAO for Health and Human Services. Mr. Floyd Hope, DCAO for Government Infrastructure, Technology, and the Environmental Services. DCAO Tara Jackson for Government Operations. DCAO Mark McGaugh, Public Safety and Homeland Security. DCAO Ray Gilley for Economic Development. We also have on the stage Chief Barksdale, Fire and EMS. Terry Bellamy, Director of Department of Public Works and Transportation. Melinda Bowling, Director of Department of Permitting, Inspections, and Enforcement, DPI. Joe Gill, Director of DOE. We have representing the Revenue Authority, Mr. Anthony Poteet, COO. Oh, Peter, you are here. Thanks for making it. My notes are wrong. Hey, Chief Sawinski, PGPD. And representing PGCPS is Barry Stanton, COO. Did I miss anybody? All right. The Cabinet. Alicia Alexander, Board of Elections. Estella Alexander, Director of DHCD. Robin Barnes-Shell, Director of Ethics and Accountability. Renee Battlebrooks, Executive Director of the Human Relations Commission. Elena Belon Butler, Director of Family Services. Gloria Brown Burnett, Director of the Department of Social Services. Jonathan Butler, Director of the Office of Central Services. Dr. Ernest Carter, our Health Director. Stephen Darcy, Director, Soil Conservation District. Yanisha Davis, Director of OCR, Office of Community Relations. Also here, Delegate Chairman Derek Davis. Director Early, or Dr. Early, who is a doctor of tough choices of the Office of Budget Management. We've got Leslie Graves, Director of the Conference of Visitors Bureau. Director Gibson, Wanda Gibson, Director of the Office of Information Technology. It is Sheriff Melvin High here. Thank you, sir. Mr. David Iannucci, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Economic Development Corporation. Mary Lou McDonough, Director of the Department of Corrections. Stephen McGibbon, Acting Director of the Office of Finance. Stephen Paul, Director of the Redevelopment Authority. Sean Stokes, Director of the Office of Human Resources Management. Rhonda Weaver, our County Attorney. And representing the Office of Homeland Security, Charlene Flaherty. And we have Betty Hewlett from Maryland National Capital Park and Planning. And Sandra Peaches, Executive Director of Prince George's Community Television, and Walter Simmons, President and Executive Director of Employ Prince George's Incorporated. So our whole government plus more is here. Who am I missing? And if I miss you, I will catch it up on the back end. Well, thank you all for coming here tonight for a very important conversation with the County Executive. And here to actually welcome us properly is the leadership of Roosevelt High School. We've got Principal Reginald McNeil and students Layla and Lewis. Principal McNeil has been the principal of Roosevelt High School since 2007 and has been an educator in our system for over 20 years, right? Layla is, an honor roll student and involved in several organizations, and Luis is here to translate and offer a welcome in Spanish. I'd like you all to come up and give these guys a welcome. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Okay, I'm Reginald McNeil, and welcome to Eleanor Roosevelt High School. I'm the proud principal of this great institution. So we're very honored that we could host this event for our county executive. And County Executive Alsobrooks, I'd like to thank you again for speaking at our graduation last year. It's very great. Thank you. But Eleanor Roosevelt, we practice the Roosevelt way, which is respect, responsibility, kindness, and integrity. And we're pleased again to be here. And I want to thank some other people that really made this happen here from Eleanor Roosevelt High School. Mr. Eric Dent, our building manager, who helped put this together. So give him a big round of applause, please. Mr. Joshua Fountain, he is our auditorium technician and manager, so he is really running everything in here. Please give him a big round of applause. Our ROTC color guard for being here tonight, led by Chief Johnny Hollis. And you got a chance to hear our award-winning band as you entered and as you were sitting here. Give them a big round. They are led by Mrs. Zephyr, and our band has been invited to the prestigious Midwest Clinic in Chicago in December. Okay, and just give them. So when you're invited to these events, you have to pay. And so we're taking about 40 students across country, and it's a very expensive trip. And so we would definitely appreciate your support. And you can see Mrs. Zephyr here if you would like to help out with that. But now I would like to bring up our young people, and that's why we're here, to really support our young people and look at their future and what they do. And it's amazing. I've been here since 1997. I told a student that today, and it's like, wow, before I was born, you know. And so, but just to see the amazing things that students do after they graduate. I'm looking at one of my graduates sitting over there now, working for Senator Van Hollen. So I'm very proud of her and what she's been doing. But we have a couple more that will continue our introductions, and I'm very proud of what they do here at Roosevelt. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. A proud, lifelong Prince Georgian, County Executive Alsobrooks knew from an early age that she wanted to give back to the community that raised her and give a voice to those who might not otherwise have one. After graduating from the University of Maryland Law School, the county executive began her career as a Prince George's County Assistant State Attorney in 1997, eventually becoming the county's first full-time prosecutor assigned to handle domestic violence cases. She tried and successfully prosecuted scores of cases against violent offenders. In 2002, she was appointed by the county executive to serve as education liaison. In 2003, she was appointed as the executive director of the county's Revenue Authority. In 2010, Alsobrooks was elected to serve as the county's state attorney, becoming the youngest and first woman to be elected to the office in Prince George's County. As the county's top law enforcement official, Alsobrooks strived to carry out her responsibilities in a firm, fair, and consistent manner. Alsobrooks and her office played a major role in the record crime reduction the county has seen over the last several years and the 50% reduction in the violent crime over the last 7. In November 2018, Alsobrooks was elected as the 8th county executive for Prince George's County and the first woman to hold the position. Alsobrooks' administration is committed to providing a world-class education system, safe communities, and a robust economy that creates jobs and opportunities for all and increases the commercial tax base to ensure residents are provided with the services they deserve. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, sean bienvenidos todos y cada uno de ustedes a Eleanor Roosevelt High School. Gracias por estar acá. Gracias, ejecutiva, por estar con nosotros esta tarde. Damos las gracias como estudiantes, como personas, todo su apoyo como gobierno a nuestra comunidad y a toda nuestra gente. Alrededor de el apoyo de nuestra ejecutiva ha estado en la comunidad por muchísimos años y lo agradecemos de una gran manera. Nuevamente, gracias por todo su apoyo a nuestra comunidad y lo agradecemos enormemente. Mi nombre es Luis Sarmiento y soy uno de 29.553 estudiantes que son parte del programa de ISO, de PG. Nuevamente, es todo de mi parte y muchas gracias.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming County Executive Alsobrooks.
Good evening, everybody. It's so great to see all of you all. I want to begin. Can we please give a rousing round of applause for Lelia, and Luis this afternoon? I have to tell you that Lelia is the first person I have ever met, and I should have gotten it right on the first time, who has my grandmother's name. It's spelled the same, and she is just so outstanding. So we're very proud of you, Lelia. And Luis, muchas gracias to Luis. Thank you so much. And also to Principal Reginald McNeil, we want to thank you so much, sir. We are proud of your leadership, and we are so proud of everything that is occurring here at Roosevelt. Very proud of this school, and just thank you so much for opening it up for us tonight and having us here. We are also so very, very proud of the Eleanor Roosevelt Band, can we give them some love tonight, too? And I want to say thank you to their director, Ms. Rachel Zephyr. Can we thank her for her leadership? And, you know, you heard a moment ago, she stood up and she held up the pamphlets and she said, we sure would love your support. So we have some good news tonight, and it is that we have brought to you to help with your efforts. I hope that you all know that the Eleanor Roosevelt Band is only the third band from Maryland to have ever been invited to perform at the Elite Music Conference in Chicago. So we are certainly very proud of their accomplishments. And tonight we have brought with us, just as requested, a $2,500 check to assist, and it is, of course, don't take this one to the bank, all right? But we do have $2,500. Principal McNeil? All right, sir. Can we have some of the students come up, please? Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Now we have, before we begin, before we finish the program. Okay. So, you know, well, first of all, again, I want to say thank you all for coming out tonight. We know that this is a challenging evening as we are on the eve of what we anticipate will be a World Series championship tonight with the Washington Nationals. And so we know that many folks are home tonight preparing to cheer on our Nationals. We know also that it is raining outside, but I tell you what I love so much about Prince Georgians is they are so faithful and so engaged. And so we thank all of you all for being here tonight. I most especially want to begin by telling you, I have the most amazing colleagues ever who work with me, who are here tonight, all of the agency directors and the leadership in our county. And I just it's too many for me to go around and name. We also have elected officials who are here with us tonight. My colleagues on the council, the state's attorney, our leadership here in Greenbelt, the electeds here, and just our state delegation. I just want to say thank you so much to all of you for coming out. When we say Prince George is proud, it is no exaggeration. We are just so very proud of the work that we have been able to accomplish here together. And truly together really is the optimal word. There is no way that we could accomplish everything that is necessary for this community except that we do it together. And so I want to thank all of you for coming out. I most especially want to thank our team for the work that they have done. The past 11 months, to say they have been a whirlwind really is an understatement. This has been a really rigorous 11-month period that we have been in. It followed a period where we had the opportunity to travel from one side of this county to the next. And during that time, we were able to hear firsthand from the residents of this county what they cared about, what their priorities were. And I have to tell you that I committed to ensure that we would make them proud, that we would fulfill the potential of this county. And we have worked like nobody's business to make sure that it happened. But again, with all of the men and women who are seated on the stage tonight, I want to say thank you to each of them for their commitment and their expertise, and to say thank each of you for coming out tonight. Now, I have quite a bit to share with you tonight about what we have been able to accomplish and to talk with you about some of the priorities that we have set for our community. We began a very successful legislative session this past January. Our work started there, and we were really proud to bring home a record $1.5 billion in state funding. And thank you. And I should tell you that as a result of the hard work of our legislative team, that this is the most money that our county has ever brought home in a single legislative session. And so we really applaud them. We applaud again the legislative team who worked especially hard in Annapolis, all the electeds in our team are really proud of what they were able to accomplish. And we've already started putting those dollars to good use in public safety, infrastructure improvement, economic development, education, and so much more. Now, the last legislative session, we were able to secure a commitment of $14 million in Kerwin funding. And what I can tell you that we were able to use that funding for is pre-K education, which is a real priority of our administration. And so we were able to support and bolster existing programs for approximately 4,900 pre-K students. It also helped us, thank you, also helped us to fast track 17 more universal pre-K centers throughout our county, and to begin the conversion of our half-day programs to full-day programs, and this really is just a start for us. We've also, in collaboration with our, and I call her dynamic, but I have to also say she is a super bad woman, Dr. Monica Golson, who is just an amazing school CEO, who we were able to work collaboratively with to identify $44 million in funding to enhance teacher salaries, and these teacher salaries are long overdue, and so we're really proud that we were able to do this, and this is allowing us to increase teacher salaries by percentages over the next 3 years. We've also, since the beginning of our administration, really made a solid commitment to young people, and part of that commitment was demonstrated during our summer youth enrichment program. Now, as we came into office, we were traditionally hiring about 3,000 young people in the summer, but I have to tell you that we decided that that would not be good enough, and I want to thank Sean Stokes and the Office of Human Resource Management, Employ Prince George's, and so many other businesses who came together with us to ensure that we were able to more than double the number of kids that we hired this past summer. We went from 3,000 to close to 7,000 young people who we hired in our summer youth enrichment program. We also began to crack down. You've heard us talk about Prince George is Proud, and to do that, we realized that we had to crack down on illegal dumping. We also had to put mobile hidden cameras in problem areas around the county. We want to make sure that this county reflects the pride that we feel in it. And we were very serious, and we are very serious about cracking down on illegal dumping. Too many people regard Prince George's County as the point of least resistance, have come here to dump unsightly items throughout our county. And so we have done, again, the two things, really increase the fines and the penalties for illegal dumping. But I want you also to let people know that the county executive has her eyes on them, because we have these cameras, hidden cameras, fixed around the county, all right? And let them know that for any of them who understand where the cameras are, don't worry, we'll move them as we need to. But we're going to continue to capture people on those cameras, and we are very serious about making sure that we stop the illegal dumping that is occurring in our county. We have also invested $500,000 in our Office of Human Resource Management to improve recruiting, hiring, and promotion, so that we make sure that we have the most skilled people working for you in this government. Now, to do that, it meant that we had to really make the solid investments in technology. The $500,000, we also made close to $5 million worth of investments in technology to ensure that we're able to do things like invest in, we have $200,000 that we invested in software in the Office of Central Services. I keep telling on Jonathan Butler, who's up here on this stage, who said, oh, I'm sorry, he's right out here in the audience, our director, who said, you know, Angela, it's so wonderful to work here, but I have to tell you that in some regards, it's like coming back to 1985. Reminding me that we really did have some work to do in the area of technology. We accepted the challenge. Wanda Gibson, who's also the Director of Information Technology, she's shaking her head because she agreed that we really did need to make those investments, and we are starting to make them. As a result of that initial down payment that we made of $200,000 in the Office of Central Services, which oversees procurement for the counties, which is how we buy goods and services in the county. We have started, as of this month, a new certification and compliance system that allows anyone, including and most especially our small and minority businesses, to do business in the county by completing their certification and recertifications online. We want to make it easier for people to do business with our county. And so this is the first step toward e-procurement, which is more costly, and we're going to put an additional investment in this year's budget to make sure that we can afford that. We're also working hard to ensure that we continue to deliver to you the amenities and the goods that you deserve as citizens, the options, the dining options that we know that you want. We're also making sure that as the economic boom continues in Prince George's County, that we're ready for it. And so we are really pleased that we broke ground on the Purple Line. We know as well, I don't know how many of you are excited about this, but I certainly am. How many of you have driven by the Hampton Park Mall and realized that we have recently broken ground on that area around Hampton Park Mall after many, many years? This will be the future location of the Ivy City Smokehouse Restaurant, an award-winning restaurant. And we've also invested money. We have 241 shopping centers around the county. What we were able to do through the Economic Development Corporation is to conduct a study of those shopping centers. We realized that there were, I believe, 47 of them that were in need of investment, that were failing, and that 21 of them are in the inner Beltway area of the county. So what we were able to do is to begin to attract investment for those shopping centers. We hope that this will be a way for us to not only increase and encourage community-based businesses, but we believe that this is also a way for us to begin to address some of the food desert issues that we have in our county. We are also really pleased to say, I've told you, and tonight is an example of it, that we would not wait for you to come to us. We believe that it is the obligation of government to come to you. So I am really proud that through our Office of Community Relations, we have attended well over 500 community meetings since last December. This is a very hard-working team, and they have been out and about. So we are off to a really fast start, but we realized in order for us to really maximize our efforts, we needed to really slow down, to make sure that we got focused. And one of the things that I will say to you is that excellence matters to this administration. And it is not just that we talk about being excellent, but we wanted to make sure that we had measurable ways to measure our progress over the years. And so we got all of our agency directors and staff to come together. We have spent months together talking about programs and initiatives, what our priorities would be, and how we could lay them out for this community in a very clear way so that you would know, even at this point, what the priorities of this administration are and how you can hold us accountable for the things that we promised you. And so that's what tonight is about, is to share with you some of the priorities of our administration. Those priorities are education, youth development, economic development, safe neighborhoods, healthy communities, and quality of life. Now, under each of these priorities, there are a number of initiatives. Now, those initiatives will begin, they'll be here on the screen behind me, and I believe that you also should have in your hand a handout which will also list some of those initiatives for you. Beginning with education, you heard me discuss a moment ago pre-K education, and so that is one of the areas that we are focused on, Proud Pre-K, because we believe, and it is not just a belief, we all understand that we must get to our children earlier to ensure that our kids are prepared for kindergarten. So over the next 5 years, it is a priority of our administration to increase the number of pre-K seats to accommodate 10,000 students. And we are also eliminating the income requirements for enrollment. Our plan is also to convert all of our half-day pre-K classes to full-day, and we're partnering with nonprofits to increase the capacity for child care centers, equipping them to provide pre-K education as well. We're also working to make sure that we increase our county's kindergarten readiness assessment scores because we are learning from our school system that a really high percentage of our students who we test in kindergarten test not ready to learn when they come to us. And we believe that this pre-K education that we're providing will allow us to increase those test scores. Dr. Golson tells us that in the neighborhood of 65% of the kids who we tested when they came to kindergarten tested not ready to learn. I think you can agree with me that this is completely unacceptable. I think we have an opportunity to do better, and we believe that this pre-K education will allow us to do that. We are also proud that Dr. Golson and I are working together to ensure that everybody has a stake in our school system. You heard me say on the day that I announced Dr. Golson as our new CEO, something that I believe to be completely true, and that is that she cannot do this work by herself. That we would come back to her in a few years and hold her accountable, but we could only do that if we had done our part. And so we have announced, we're really happy to announce a goal that we share together, and that is a goal to recruit 5,000 proud partners for Prince George's County Public Schools. We need you. We're really glad that you're here tonight, and we are asking, as my favorite, as Senator Joanne Benson would say, lottie-dottie, and everybody, we're going to need everybody's engagement to ensure that our school children are successful. So 5,000 proud partners for Prince George's County Public Schools. But through this effort, we're working to increase participation in PTAs, tutoring, mentoring programs, our athletic programs, and the Adopt a School and Partners in Education programs. And so we want each of you to really consider becoming engaged in that way and sharing this information with others that you know. We have so many assets in this county. Many of them include our veterans and our seniors who have so much wisdom to share, and our local businesses and grassroots organizations and leaders also have so much to give. And so we'll be relying on all of the assets we have, including that kind of expertise, to work with our school system to develop a standard menu of volunteer opportunities, and we will also have a platform to track volunteerism overall. I am so serious about bringing us all together as a community to make sure that our kids have the absolute best opportunity possible to succeed not only here, but throughout our state and nation and abroad. Youth development is also a priority for us. It is so critical to our children that we equip them to succeed in and outside of the classroom. And in order to do that, we have put together a whole menu of priorities and initiatives to ensure that our kids are developed as whole people. In other words, we understand that youth development does not just happen in the classroom, but that it is the affirmative obligation of our government to ensure that our kids are well-rounded and that we have holistic approaches to teaching them and developing them as people. How will we do that? Youth sports is one of the areas that we have targeted. We started this past year with youth sports legislation that we put forward in Annapolis to ensure that within the Department of Maryland, within Maryland National Capital Park and Planning, I want to thank Betty Hewlett, who is here tonight, who is chair of Maryland National Capital Park and Planning. And Betty and her team, thank you, she does deserve a round of applause, have very aggressively embraced the idea that youth sports should be an integral part of what happens through Maryland National Capital Park and Planning. What this will mean for us is that their agency will coordinate youth sports throughout the county. And since this legislation passed, Parks and Recreation has already established the Youth and Countywide Sports Division and is currently recruiting and selecting its leadership team. Now, once that team is set, they will assess the department's existing programs and services and develop a multi-year plan to develop a one-stop shop for youth sports and facility permitting throughout Prince George's County. We believe that this will equalize the opportunity for all of our children to participate in sports. And again, I want to thank Maryland National Capital Park and Planning for heading that for us. The Youth and Countywide Sports Division will be operational by the end of this year, and through strategic planning, we will create a more efficient and user-friendly process to gain access for all of our kids to youth sports programs and facilities. Also, under youth development, we are working to build what Dr. Askew called our child-friendly county. And so I want to thank Dr. Askew for this initiative. This comes out of UNICEF. It is modeled across the country, but we are also creating it here in Prince George's County. And what this means is that we will be a county where our kids have access to quality social services. We will focus on their safety in our communities. We'll make sure that they are protected from discrimination, violence, abuse, and that they have a seat at the table here in Prince George's County. Now, what will that mean? That means that I will create a children's cabinet within the government, because I have long since learned that the only way that you can't represent people you don't know or understand. And in order to do that, we're going to have to bring our kids to the table so that I can hear firsthand what it is they think and they feel. And so the Children's Cabinet will be an opportunity for our young people to really weigh in on the solutions and provide feedback to me on how they believe that we can improve their quality of life in this county. And so I'm looking forward to hearing from them. I'm also excited about rolling out school-based health centers. I have to tell you, this particular initiative is so very important. We cannot assume that our children who we place in these classrooms can learn without the support that they need for mental health care. We have to support their families in getting the dental care they need and the vision care that they need, and the school-based health centers will help us to provide that for our students. And so we will roll those centers out. We will begin, we are building right now, and we'll add 12 by the end of we're adding one by the end of this year, but we're looking forward to over the next 3 years adding 12. And over the next 8 years, it is the vision that we will have 18, which will be the most in the state, that Prince George's County will have the most school-based health centers in the state in our school system. Again, this goal is to assist our families. We believe that we are allies in the education of our children, but again, it is so difficult to teach a child who has not slept well. It is hard to teach a child who has not been nourished well, and a child who is traumatized, who has sat home to witness violence. And so we have to make sure that our kids are prepared to learn, and we believe that these health-based centers will allow us to do that. Moving on to economic development, many of you are aware that 70% of the tax revenues generated in Prince George's County come from residential property taxes. What does this mean? This means that on the backs of citizens, essentially, we pay for the goods and services that are necessary in this county, because only 30% of all of our revenues come from commercial and business taxes. This is an important number for you to understand, that 70% of all of the taxes are residential property taxes in Prince George's County. That means that there is an urgency that we have about increasing commercial activity in our county. Now, just as a point of comparison, you should understand that the annual budget of Prince George's County is $4.4 billion. And again, this is largely funded from residential property taxes. Just by way of comparison, Fairfax County, which is our neighbor, has a budget of nearly $8.6 billion, and Washington, D.C., our next neighbor, has a budget of $15.5 billion. Now, when people ask us very often, why is it that we are not able to do more for those in our reentry community? We'd love to do more for seniors. We'd like to do more for our children. You should understand, for example, that Washington, D.C. spends $4 billion a year in social services alone. You should know that that is the entire budget of Prince George's County. So what that means is that we have just done a yeoman's job of being so fiscally responsible that we have been able to make use of the $4.4 billion that we have to make sure that we serve our citizens. And again, I want to thank this county council that works especially hard to make sure that we are responsible over those dollars. Stan Early, who I think Stan Early is here as well, who does a really excellent job of that as well. But it also means that we must be really passionate and focused on increasing business in our county. And so that's what we're doing. But we must do so, and this is a really important point. We must make sure that we are hyper-focused on really increasing the commercial tax base in our county, but we must do it the right way. We must do it the right way. What does that mean for us? Right now, the right way means branding and investing in the downtowns of Prince George's County. This really is the competitive advantage that we have. It is that Prince George's County, so you know, and I want you to take this down because we have many, many talking points to brag on. You should know that we are transportation rich. We are centrally located as a county. We are comprised of neighborhoods, towns, and communities with distinctive identities and attributes, and that there are dozens of hometowns in the county that offer opportunities for our residents to work, shop, play, create, and learn close to home. So the investments that we will make in our downtowns will attract an array of denser housing types. We're looking for higher quality retail restaurants and creative sector professional jobs that range in type from science and tech occupations to the arts. So we're really looking forward to growing the bustling downtowns of College Park, Largo, New Carrollton, Branch Avenue, Oxon Hill, Suitland, the Gateway Arts District of Hyattsville, North Brentwood, Brentwood, Mount Rainier, in addition to building on the economic impact that we know the Purple Line will bring to our international corridor. We're investing in the international corridor of Langley Park, Chilham, and Adelphi. And so we have so many rich opportunities, and we're not going to sell ourselves short. Investing in these areas and places will grow interest in our commercial tax base and ultimately enable us to provide better services throughout our county. Now, as we work to build the downtowns of Prince George's in a diverse economy, we will also have a laser-like focus on making sure that we address the issues and concerns that our residents have had with finding healthy food options in our county. I don't know about you, but this is an issue that I am so very passionate about. What we know is Prince George's County has 6 major food deserts. We also know that 55% of all of the eating establishments in Prince George's County are fast food. We find this to be completely unacceptable, and we know that we can do much better. So we're anticipating that even as we'll be working, I want to thank David Iannucci, who is here from the Economic Development Corporation, and his team, who are working hard to make sure that we close the gaps where these food deserts are concerned. One such example is that you are aware that there are 11 Shoppers grocery stores, and that we anticipate that they will be closing early next year. But you should know that David and his team are working really hard to make sure that we're able to backfill all of those grocery stores with healthy grocers. We've been talking to folks, and we're really looking forward to making sure that we don't leave any neighborhood behind without a healthy grocery store. We're also looking to attract other grocers to areas that have gone for too long without healthy food, and we're doing so by putting together relief packages, economic and financial relief packages to make these areas attractive and to assist grocers in identifying county tax credits to ensure their growth and long-term sustainability in our communities. Now, as we work to grow our economy, I want you to know that we are also focusing on supporting small and minority-owned businesses in our county. This is a priority for us. We're currently working to empower them, to empower and expand the local business capacity. We're doing this by very creative things that will allow our businesses to compete for county business. Again, I want to thank Jonathan and his team for what they've done to really get out ahead of this issue, to make sure that many of our small and local businesses can forecast some of the opportunities that will be coming to Prince George's over the next 12 months or so, that they will know what goods and services we need as a county, and that they will have an opportunity to bid for that work and to prepare their bids. And so we're working hard to make sure that we expand the opportunity for more people to sit at the table and do business in Prince George's. This means that we're also working on a plan to ensure that 50% of all of the contracts that we award for commercial off-the-shelf goods or services are awarded to county-based businesses as the primary contractor. This is very big, 50%. We believe that this is a mutual benefit for us because it not only keeps the money within our community, but it also means that the government can get the goods and services that we need more quickly because we'll be buying local. We're also next focusing on safe neighborhoods. And it is my great belief that in order for us to really, one of the things that really contributes to being able to attract businesses to Prince George's County, and we've really had great success in developing interest, and we're seeing an increased interest in businesses, it is because Prince George's County is a safe place to be. This is not a small point. It is a major point that people are looking more often to live here and to do business here because they understand that Prince George's County is a safe place to be. Overall, our crime rate is the lowest we have seen in more than 50 years, and it continues to drop. We've also seen a reduction in quality of life crimes. I heard from so many of you that you are not only concerned about violence, but you're concerned also about your quality of life. And what does this mean for you? It means stolen vehicles, home invasions, carjackings, and those other things. And so we want you to know that we have really placed a laser-like focus on that, and that we're seeing all of those numbers drop. And we're continuing to work in that regard. And so I want to thank the Prince George's County Police Department and Chief Stawinski for the work that they have done. They have done an amazing job in decreasing crime. And again, let me just put a punctuation mark here. The numbers speak for themselves. A 50% decrease in violent crime over 8 years does not just happen. It happens as a result of excellent policing, and it happens because this is the most engaged community anywhere. Prince Georgians have caused these numbers to decline because they have been so engaged in the work that we have done here. And so I want to thank you as well for coming together as a community and deciding that Prince George's County is not a great place to commit crime, that we are a community that come together to ensure that it is laid for all of us to live. Now, while our homicide, I want you to know that we have focused on ensuring that illegal guns will be taken off of our streets. Going forward, our officers will deploy daily with the Criminal Apprehension Suppression Team program. And what this means is that we are now focusing laser-like on removing guns from our streets. We understand that that is a major issue, not only for Prince George's County, but for communities across the country. And so we have a whole program designed to really target, based on crime data, targeted areas to ensure that we're decreasing violence by removing illegal guns from our communities. We're also focusing on returning citizens because we know that 95% of those who are incarcerated will return to our communities. And so we want to make sure that when they come back home to us, that we have equipped them with the necessary tools that they will need to be productive citizens. This means that our Department of Corrections, and I want to thank Mary Lou McDonough, who is here tonight, our Director of Corrections, who is doing an outstanding job, has put together a medication assisted treatment program to assist, that's right, we can give her a round of applause. But the Department of Corrections has a medication-assisted treatment program to assist those who are addicted to opioids when incarcerated, to make sure that we get them off of those drugs and that we keep them connected to resources upon their release. And so we want to make sure that our returning citizens can do so safely and effectively, and we put that in place. We've also partnered with the new Opioid Addiction Treatment Center in College Park. And we have the Bridge Center at Adams House that is a one-stop shop to receive services through the Health Department, Social Services, and Family Services. The Department of Corrections has also put together a number of programs to ensure that those who are incarcerated are able to develop the reentry skills that they need, from job applications, training, making sure that they're also trained in the trades. And so we're working hard through programs. One innovative program we have allows inmates to work actually in the kitchen at the jail. And they now have the ability to earn a certificate for their work experience and to assist them in getting a job in the food service industry upon release. And so we're putting together really creative programming to ensure that those who are released are able to have the skills that they need to continue to work. Healthy communities. We want to make sure that all of our citizens are able to live in healthy communities. And let me tell you a bit about what that means for us. We have a very precious group of people who live in our county. They just happen to be our veterans. And Prince George's County is able to boast that we are the home to more than 60,000 veterans in Prince George's County. That is the largest concentration of veterans in the state, and they call Prince George's County home. And because they are here, thank you, and because we regard them as a very precious asset, I opened the first ever Office of Veterans Affairs, and this makes us the first county in the state of Maryland to have in a county an Office of Veterans Affairs. We have, thank you, appointed to lead that particular office, Dr. James Dula, who is the Veterans Affairs Officer. And if anybody knows Dr. Dula, you know he is doing a really amazing job. A veteran himself, he's just really hit the ground running. And because of his work, we have had already more than 2,000 veterans who have come to that office in the last 9 months seeking resources, from VA claims assistance to quality of life assistance, like housing and employment and rental assistance. And we anticipate that by the end of the year, we will have served over 3,000 veterans already as a result of that new resource, and we're really proud of that. Like our veterans, another really treasured group of citizens we have are our seniors. I love, love, love the seniors of Prince George's County. And we are serving our seniors by making sure that they comprise, believe it or not, over 171,000 of our residents are over 60 years of age. That's nearly 20% of our total population, and I can tell you that their well-being is a top priority of this administration. How are we serving them? What I heard from our seniors is that they have a number of concerns. Housing is a concern for our seniors, and so we're going to utilize the Housing Investment Trust Fund to provide gap financing for developing and preserving senior housing, as well as workforce and mixed income housing. We're also continuing to invest in our public transportation services, because I want you to know that the seniors have said to me, we are very active, we line dance, we have all kinds of activities happening during the week, and we need transportation in the county to make it to our activities and to continue our lives. And so we have focused as well on making sure that we have retrofitted vehicles. We've actually purchased additional buses, and making sure that we have the resources our seniors need to be able to be transported around the county. We've also made investments in a call-a-bus program, which delivers nutritious meals to our homebound neighbors. And in addition to that, Park and Planning continues to provide senior-targeted services at their community centers. And in our incoming legislative session, continuing the work that we have done over the last several years, we are also introducing statewide legislation to establish an elder abuse registry. Now, what does this mean? This means that our seniors who have laid the groundwork for us to be here need to be safe. And Maryland is one of the only states in the country that does not have an elder abuse registry. So this means that you can abuse a senior at a home, be fired from there, and go get a job someplace else. We want to make sure that this never happens again. That if you go on record as a person who has abused a senior in any way, we should know about you. We want you on our elder abuse registry so that we can keep safe our seniors who are vulnerable and many of whom cannot care for themselves. A healthy community also means clean communities, which is why I launched the county's beautification initiative this past spring. And let me tell you, I heard from many of our residents who said, we care about education. We understand that education is a priority, but we want to know also where our tax dollars are going. The Prince Georgians pay the second highest tax rate in the state, and you have said to us, we want to see the evidence of the taxes that we pay to live in this county. And we believe that beautification is one such area that we are able to demonstrate visually the way that your tax dollars are being used. And so I want to thank Joe Gill. I want to thank Terry Bellamy, also at the Department of Public Works and Transportation, for the yeoman's job that they have done in helping us in our cleanup efforts. So each year, our county spends $3 million on cleanup efforts. Those dollars, in our opinion, can be spent in other areas if only we did our part to ensure that our county remained clean. But we're getting out there. We've had a good number of litter programs and litter collections. These areas along the road, you can see the medians where people have put their signs out there. You've seen these signs. They say, I buy and sell houses. If you want to be tutored, if you want your house power washed, if you want any number of other things, and they advertise those in those medians. Well, those signs are pollution, and they really do make our county unsightly. And so we have collected, I know, Terry, we collected how many of those signs? 5,000? The chief collected 5. The chief drives around in his cruiser, and when he sees those signs, he pulls over and pulls them up himself. But we have collected well over 5,000, I believe, in the last couple of months in those median strips. And so we're really serious about making sure that we keep our county clean. We've also launched a marketing campaign, we're even going to some of our younger residents in the schools to teach them about the importance of recycling and keeping our streets litter-free. And so we've done 2 countywide community cleanups. I participated in one, I think it's about 2 weeks ago, and we had several also make all of these campaigns around illegal dumping and other things. And so we'll continue to work to make sure that we're keeping our county beautiful. There's another environmental issue that we really are seeing more and more of. I know that our colleagues on the council are hearing about that, and that is the increased flooding due to climate change, which is impacting many of our residents, in particular in the southern part of the county. So we've seen larger rain events, as you have seen as well in recent years, and these rain events have led to flooded homes and streets, and that has happened in particular in Fort Washington, Temple Hills, Clinton, and the Accokeek areas. And so we will build new infrastructure to improve stormwater conveyance in those residential areas, and we're in the planning process now, and I'll keep all of you updated on what we're doing. But we just want you to know that we're taking a look at how we issue building permits to make sure that developers aren't increasing the risk of flooding in these areas. And so this is an area that we're really seeing a lot of attention being placed and a lot of concern, and we're working on it. I'm going to come just to a couple of other areas, and I have some folks who are behind me who I know are also going to talk to you tonight. But quality of life and high performance government. At the end of the day, if you've heard little else I have said tonight, I want you to know that I believe that it is so important that we deliver to you as a government what you deserve. That excellence, that a nimble government that is responsive to your needs, a government that comes out to you and tells you what we are doing on your behalf and shows up to hear your concerns. This is not just about me providing information to you, which I believe is really important for me to be able to share with you the things that we're doing. Well, we're here because we also need to hear from you. We need to make sure that we know what your concerns are and know the things that you expect from us as well. And so the last part of what I will share to you with you, and I want to thank Unisha Davis for this, is that when we took office in December of 2018, our 311 call center's call abandon rate was at 20%. That meant that 20% of our residents were unable to successfully report pertinent government service concerns to county government agencies. It also meant, and I heard this from one of my most challenging constituents, who is my father. He told me that he could not access 311 to his satisfaction. He wanted something done about it. He threatened that if I didn't, he and my mother were going to pack up and move out of the county. We told him this certainly could not happen, that he was going to give us an opportunity to fix it. But what we know is that in December of 2018, because we tested it, when a resident called 311, it took on average 3 minutes and 18 seconds for them to speak with a call center representative. We agreed that this was too long. So today, because of the outstanding work of our Office of Community Relations, and this is a super bad team, they have now decreased this call center's average response time down to 6 to 7 seconds. I want you to know that it takes 6 to 7 seconds. And you should know that in December of 2018, the call center only had one Spanish-speaking call operator to take calls from our non-English-speaking residents. And since then, we have hired 3 additional Spanish-speaking call center operators because we want to make sure we can communicate with every part of our community. Now, when I leave and sit down here, I want you to know that you're going to be able to hear a bit more. We have our directors from the Department of Permitting and Inspections, the Department of Environment, Department of Public Works and Transportation, and they will be able to tell you a bit more about the things that they are working on and what you need to hear about as residents. So again, in closing, I thank you for coming out tonight. I can tell you, first of all, I want to say thank you for the true honor of having represented you as your county executive. I have loved every minute of this job. I really have. It is such an honor to represent you. I'll be happy to speak with you when this is done. But I want you to know that it really has been an honor to represent you, that we wake up every day. I do not do so alone. So again, there is no way for me to really adequately thank the men and women who have joined me in this work every day. I thank each of you. You are our partners as well. But there is no place like Prince George's. I often say that we are the crown jewel of Maryland, and that is no exaggeration. There is no place quite like Prince George's County. We are so proud of everything that we have accomplished here, but we truly believe that the best is yet to come. And so I thank you for being here tonight to hear about our priorities. We'll continue to update you over time as to our progress, but we thank you again, and I will turn this back over to David Sloan, who, by the way, can you help me? David Sloan and Molly and Linda have done a yeoman's job in putting together tonight's presentation. I don't think David has slept a wink. David eats, sleeps, drinks, and thinks all the time about this work, and I just want to thank you, David, for your commitment. Molly and Linda as well, thank you so very much.
Okay, so we're going to turn it over to the Big Four for a couple of remarks about neighborhood services, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A, so I just want to get some housekeeping out the way. You guys all have note cards. Please make sure when you're filling out your questions that you put your contact information. Some of the staff from OCR are going to collect them, and then we're going to get them around here so I can read them, and then the county executive will take Q&A with her cabinet behind me and in the front row. But as the county executive previewed, we discussed that you can roll out sweeping initiatives from pre-K to expanding healthcare services, but a lot of people want you to also talk about their potholes and their resurfacing needs and their tree trimmings and sidewalks. So with that, I'll turn it over to the awesome director of DPI, Melinda Bowling, and we'll just go down the list. I'm gonna just give you this.
Good evening. I'm Melinda Bowling, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Director for the Department of Permitting, Inspections, and Enforcement. And we have indeed been busy since we came into office in December 2018. The big things that we're working on behalf of the county executive and all of the citizens are improving our permitting process. Because when we improve our permitting process, we can help to bring in the economic development that we deserve. We can have more commercial and retail operations that can change the tax base, and more revenues can come in from commercial. So we've streamlined that. We're being more giving more communications to the developers, to applicants who need to do things. But additionally, as homeowners, as you want to change your home, whether you want to age in place, we've relaunched our Homeowner Center, and we're there to help you every day through the process so that we can reduce your costs and help you to make those improvements immediately. For individuals who are looking to open businesses or to expand their businesses, we have hired and have helped small businesses, small minority businesses here in the county. We're so pleased that we're able to help revitalize the inner city, inter-county shopping centers that the county executive spoke about, and there are individuals who are opening up spaces and tenant spaces in shopping centers, and they were having challenges with the permitting process. And we brought on small business navigators with the help of a council who gave us, Council Member Glaros, who gave us that suggestion early in the administration, and we brought them on board with the funding from the county executive. And these individuals are going out to these spaces, they're meeting with these small business owners, they're helping them through the process with their drawings, their engineering, their permitting, their inspections, their signs, whatever they need. So those are some big improvements that we've made in permitting since we came into office. On the quality neighborhoods, we've heard you. We have, since April, when grass season started, we've abated over 300 properties. That means that when there's high grass and weeds, open and accessible, we've gone out to these properties and we've made them safe for you. So those are some of the big things that we've done in the time that we've been in office here at DPI, and we're here to answer any questions later on. Thank you.
Good evening. Jerry Bellamy, Department of Public Works and Transportation. First of all, I'd like to thank Christina and Thomasina, who's working the table for us tonight. I want to thank Christina and Thomasina, who's working our table, and also Assistant Director Vernon Stinnett, and Vernon is here with me tonight. Since our time in December of last year to now, we've been out in community meetings similar to this all across the county. And I want to first thank the community, because we don't know there's a problem unless you use 311. We have over 2,000 miles in our county, 5,000 lane miles. So you can imagine how big our inventories of roadways are. During this year, we've had a lot of successes. One of the successes was the Summer Youth Program. The Summer Youth Program, we got some of the most outstanding talent that we couldn't have bought with the consulting services to help us as we develop our Vision Zero program. By having the Summer Youth, they told us a lot of things that we would have never thought of working with youth from the age of 14 to 20, 21. We had students from Bowie State on our team, and they were very enlightening to us as we worked through rolling out our Vision Zero program. Vision Zero is basically that any life that's lost in a traffic fatality is one too many. And what we were trying to do with our summer youth was to help strategize how we would roll out and educate our community. During the year, we also rolled out our Transit Vision Plan, and we've started the implementation of that plan. As the county exec indicated, we've received 6 new buses. We have on order another 20 buses to come in the spring. And we'll continue to work with Family Services because we provide the meals and the transportation services for our seniors. And that's been a challenge for us simply because we want to do more. And we are looking at expanding our service and looking at Saturday service. Currently, our service does not operate on Saturdays or Sundays. We also committed to do autonomous vehicle, working with Ollie and National Harbor to roll out the first pilot autonomous vehicles, self-piloted vehicles. Along with National Harbor, the University of Maryland is also working on rolling out the Ollie format on the campus. And then finally, we paved over 31 miles of streets this year. We actually put down over 1 million square feet of concrete, sidewalk, curb, and gutter. And that's just this year. We'll continue to look at innovative ways to spread our money to improve our network. I want to leave you with one last piece is that, again, the success of our organization comes from the men and women that work within DPW&T. And I can say with the help of the county exec, we're at 95% full occupancy of our staff. And that's a major accomplishment when we compete with the private sector.
I'm going to try this one. Yes? No? All right. Okay, so we have, the Department of the Environment has the privilege of worrying about, being concerned about caring for the land, the water, and the air that surround us, our environs. We have programs that include beautification and restoring the waters of our county through preventing pollution entering the Anacostia, the Potomac, and so forth. We are, as the county executive said, embarking on a study to figure out how to reduce the drainage complaints that we're getting as a result of climate change, which is a real thing. We're heavily involved in the schools, working with environmental literacy and helping our children learn. We plant trees. We do a lot of good things. But the one thing we are committed to doing is providing basic services. We provide 26 million collection services through our contractors and our staff to county residents. 26 million consisting of trash, recycling, and bulky pickups, soon to be composting pickups. And we're committed to delivering those services in a manner that is second to none. So as Terry Bellamy said, if you're not receiving the service that you think you should be receiving, call 311. We will get right on it. We are committed to providing these basic services that keep our environment clean and safe and make us proud to live and to work here. I also wanted to use the word trash in this sentence. I hope the Nationals trash the Astros, and that's it.
Good evening, everybody. Peter Shapiro. The Revenue Authority is both an economic development finance agency, and as most of you know us, we are also the county's parking authority. We have the parking operations for the county. And I'm going to focus briefly on 2 of our parking operations, the parking enforcement and also the abandoned vehicles that you see on county roadways. Over the past year, we've invested significantly in new technology and more boots on the ground to ensure that we are addressing quality of life concern for all of our residents. We have over 40 parking enforcement officers, and we enforce parking complaints 24/7. It's a typical range of unlawful activities that you see, vehicles parked in fire lanes, blocking sidewalks, commercial vehicles parked in residential areas, which is a complaint we hear from a number of you. We also have over 70 residential parking zones throughout the county, and with more to come as communities request them. Since January, we have responded to over 2,300 311 parking complaints that are investigated and enforced and significantly reduced the response time. And then finally on abandoned vehicles. Abandoned vehicles are a concern to so many of you and are a blight on county roadways. The Alsobrooks administration has committed to addressing this issue expeditiously and using all available laws and resources. So we worked with our sister and brother agencies as a multi-agency review that we conducted over the past year. And in June, the Revenue Authority took on management of the program on behalf of the Department of the Environment. The legal process hasn't changed. If a registered owner doesn't claim their vehicle within 21 calendar days, they lose title to the vehicle, and that's the law, and same in Prince George's as throughout the state. But however, abandoned vehicles are now towed by tow companies to their own lots with very careful oversight of our agency. What that restructuring has allowed us to do is just since June, we've eliminated the backlog of over 350 abandoned vehicles and have towed almost 500 abandoned vehicles in total just since June. And we do this working with, again, our fellow agencies, with DOE and DPI and DPW&T and PGPD. That's how we're successful, as the county executive says. With this spirit of cooperation, we can be much more effective and productive. So we've substantially reduced the enforcement time, and there's much more to come, and we've done this saving the county money as well. So of course there's more to attend to, and tonight or in the future you reach out through 311 to make sure that we know where the problems are, and we will follow up expeditiously. I'm proud of our team of professionals. We have some of our enforcement officers working the tables out there, and they are proud to serve you on behalf of the county executive. Thank you very much.
How does it work? Oh, great. So what we will be doing is, this is a program that you can choose to opt in. We will be sending out mailers and letters to all residents asking if you'd like to opt into the program. And if you will, we will deliver to you a kitchen pail and a 35-gallon cart. And on Mondays, you can put out your food waste collected during the week in the pail and into the cart that we will have given you along with your yard waste. That food and yard waste is then transported to our composting facility and turned into a soil amendment or fertilizer used on your lawns. It's called Leaf Grow Gold. I'll just add, one of the great things about a county facility that is now operating is the composting facility in Upper Marlboro has the capacity to process 60 million pounds of food a year. 60 million pounds. So we are looking forward to unrolling out this program for the entire county, and look forward to your participation.
Great. The next question, and thank you for the microphone. What is the county's plan to further clean up trash along our county roads?
We have a partnership with the State Highway Administration to assist in cleaning up trash on our roadway. One of the things that we do is that we have contracted with Prince George County businesses to assist. And the other part is working with the community to, first of all, identify those areas so we can send our crews out. But one of the things that's very important is that if the road is a numbered road, that's state highway. You can put it in 311, we're going to give it to the state, and we'll work with them to make sure that that area is clean. And then we also, the three of us, partner together on various programs, from illegal signs to illegal dumping, to dumping outside of the public right-of-way, and so we work together to do it. It is one thing, and it's this has become passionate for me, but one of the things is that please let us know, because we don't know someone has littered it unless you call us. We ride and we see and we stop, but some of these areas are back in communities that we don't see.
Thank you, sir. The next question. I am concerned about abuse committed by PGPD officers. What steps do you plan to take to enable full compliance and accountability in the department and to end abuse of citizens by police? Ma'am?
All right, I want to thank you for that question. What I should tell you is that there is no concern that you have that we are unwilling to address. That's part of why I'm out here tonight, why we engage virtually every month in community and civic association meetings, so that as you have concerns, we want to know about those concerns. I happen to know that we have worked together as a community with our department, but I should tell you this, that if you have a concern about the department, this is something that we have dealt with over the years together. We are unafraid to confront when we have challenges. In fact, I created the Special Prosecution Unit in the State's Attorney's Office, the first of its kind, to make sure that when there are concerns, we're able to not only investigate the concern, but we have very successfully, when we had situations where officers needed to be held accountable, we have done so. And the thing that I am very proud of, and I think this is very different from what we've seen even across the country, and I know our state's attorney is here today, they have continued the unit. And what we know is that as those concerns arise, we have addressed them not only as a government, but we have done so in concert with the police department. We have 1,700 officers in this department. The vast majority, and I will say that 99% do a yeoman's job, but in the occasion where we have someone who steps across the line, I want you to know that we are unafraid to address bad behavior. Not now, not ever. This is your police department. And they will operate in a way that respects the dignity of the people who live here. It is their job and their desire to keep you safe, and we will do that work again together. So as concerns arise, that's the reason that we're here. We will address those concerns, and we will work together as a community to ensure that we continue to have not only the strongest department in the state, but that our neighborhoods and communities continue to be safe, and that we continue to see crime decline, which is what we have done. So again, I thank you for that question. And tonight, we have people here. We want to make sure that you leave those concerns with us. If there are specific concerns, we have our whole team is here, and we're really happy to hear from you any specific concerns that you have. And again, I will make sure that we address whatever the concerns are.
Okay. Our next question is, what is the county's plan for economic development by the new regional hospital, and what will be done?
This one's working. Okay. Cheverly, the Cheverly Hospital is looking, we just had a meeting, a community meeting to discuss. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. No. Okay.
Ma'am.
Okay, I will try to continue. The Cheverly Hospital is one of the facilities that and properties that we're looking to redevelop, and that property, the Redevelopment Authority is shepherding that project. Mr. Stephen Paul, Stephen, raise your hand. We had a very good turnout of citizens who came to an evening, roughly 2 hours of presentation by the company who is helping to facilitate that project. It's going to be a very nice development when it's done, but it's just in the very early stages of redevelopment planning, and we expect to have additional community input as to what that property can be in the future. We expect to look at some best practice models from throughout the region and country to determine what is best to do over there, and I'm confident that it'll be something that we'll all be proud of when it is completed. Stephen, Do you know approximately when we expect that to be started and completed?
Right now, with we're in the very early stages of the redevelopment planning process. There's an existing approved sector plan that calls for mixed-use development on the site, which means residential, some medical, and some retail. At this point, it's still an operating hospital, and once it becomes vacant, we'll get going with the redevelopment plans on it. So the timing is it's starting now, but by the time you see brand new buildings, it's going to be several years away.
Thank you. I do want to reiterate a note that when we are done, folks are staying behind to have any individual conversations that are necessary. No one is opposed to having conversations once the program is over, for everyone and on the record. Question, Director Butler. Can you explain more about the Office of Veterans Affairs and what services they offer?
Hi, good evening, everyone. So the Office of Veterans Affairs, headed by Dr. James Dula, is now located in our former county administration building. They are offering an array of services, and most of which we are concentrating on assisting veterans and their families with the filing of disability claims, as well as when there are concerns with those filings, also assisting with the appeals process. The appeals process, as some of you may know, is a very, very tedious and very cumbersome process, and it's one that oftentimes the Maryland State Veterans Office does not do. And so the Prince George's County Office of Veterans Affairs is focusing on assisting veterans and their families not only with filing of disability claims, but also with the appeals process. In addition to that, they're also rolling out new initiatives to assist our women veterans. As Ms. Alsobrooks has indicated, Prince George's County is home to the largest number of veterans in the state of Maryland, but those veterans consist of women veterans as well. So there's a new initiative underway so that we can assist our women veterans and their families.
Thank you, ma'am. A few more questions. With the 2020 session in Annapolis starting, what are our county's plans for Kerwin? And I will allow, I think, ma'am, we'll talk about Kerwin.
So the Kerwin funding is especially important to Prince George's County. As you all may or may not know, Prince George's County educates the largest number of disabled students in the state of Maryland. We also educate the largest number of students who speak English as a second language, and 62% of all of our children are on free and reduced lunch. What this means is Prince George's County educates for the state of Maryland a disproportionate number of students who are classified as at risk. What the Kerwin dollars allow us to do are a few very important things. It goes toward reducing class sizes. It also goes towards teacher salaries. It also goes to the things that we mentioned, such as mental health care and other things to allow for the holistic treatment and care of children. So Kerwin, in other words, allows us to equalize some of those factors that really prevent kids from learning. And we've already discussed the pre-K, universal pre-K, that is critical to make sure that our kids have early opportunities to learn. So these are the areas that Kerwin funding will address. And we look forward to being able to not only have the Kerwin formula decided in this next legislative session, but we believe that it will be a great advantage for us to be able to have that funding. Now, I should tell you, Stan Early is here, and the numbers for that are quite expensive. It's very important for us. We're going to continue to work with our partners in Annapolis to ensure that Prince George's County's share of it is equitable, but those dollars are absolutely critical, and that's what it will go toward is to classroom, really investments in the classroom. There are two categories. One is the capital investment that will be made for buildings through our P3 program that you're hearing about. That's separate, where we will build 18 schools in the next 7 years. The other is the Kerwin dollars that actually go into the classrooms directly to our children to aid them in their learning.
Our next question is about flooding infrastructure. So I'm going to turn to Director Gill. What is the county doing, and what has the county been doing to try and mitigate flooding overall?
So the introduction to all of this at the beginning with the county executive's remarks was flooding due to climate change. And I think what we'd like people to know is that this region had twice as much rain this past year as it had the year before, and that the trend is continuing. On the West Coast, the impact of climate change is basically no rain. On the East Coast, it's lots of rain, high velocity, multiple storms. We have a staff at the Department of the Environment. We work with the Department of Public Works and Permitting and Inspections to determine the cause of residential flooding, if it is a residential issue, to determine if it's an issue in terms of the infrastructure on the roadways, and then to make repairs as applicable. The program the county executive announced is going to have us take a look at this whole issue afresh to see if we can begin to anticipate constructing some infrastructure to prevent flooding in the future. The reason that I began with the prologue, though, was to say we basically have entered kind of a new world here, where the additional rainfall we're getting is not expected to go away. So we're going to do the best we can with the resources we have to help all of you address any flooding or mitigation issues you may have.
Okay, thank you very much. That's going to conclude our Q&A. But all the cards that were turned in, we're going to publish answers on the website. Please give the entire Alsobrooks government a round of applause. Now, there are some announcements that I need to make before we conclude. You ready to go, Linda? Number one, the census. While we have you here, the census. Census forms are due March the 12th. For every person that does not turn in their form, we lose $18,250 per person. We need everyone to participate in the census. Number two, our countywide food drive, Stuff a Truck, is underway. Yeah, we can count on that. This is a government that does its part to give back. We'll run through the 18th, and we invite you out to the Wayne K. Currier Building for the Move the Truck demonstration. And then number three, 311 on the go is the bridge connecting citizens to countywide services. As the county executive talked about the very, very, very impressive improvements in 311. We also have 311 on the go that gets into your community and actually gets you the information. And there are people out in the lobby who can give you more information. And finally, the Prince George's County Proud Corps, the first ever volunteer team in Prince George's County's history. We are very proud of it. And so with that, I'd like to conclude by thanking you all to come here instead of watching the Nationals game. And I'd like to thank our county government for being so willing to come together to talk to each other and talk to you. Thank you so much.